In this video, you will learn how easy to fix and modify common stretching mistakes.
The last stretch mistake is the number one reason for overstretching injuries, so make sure you watch the whole video till the end. If this is your first time to watch my channel, make sure you tap the subscribe button below and ring the bell as well, so you will get the updates to my weekly new video downloads. Not stretching enough. Stretch is the science like any other type of exercise. Our body adapts with application of soft tissue progressive stress. Stretch exercise is a form of stress. What most people doesn't know is that being physically static or sluggish is also a form of stress to the body, but unfortunately in a negative way. So the amount of movement of stretch exercise that your body needs should overtake the amount of shortening adaptation brought about by lack of movement. Let's pick a muscle and common scenario for this topic. Hip flexor muscles or the front of your thighs. You are sitting for 6 to 8 hours without breaks. Hip flexors are actually in a shortened position when you are sitting. Remember, sitting is a stress and a challenge as well. Literally, you are training to become a chair, resulting to an adaptive shortening of the hip flexors. After your work, you pay a visit to a stretch therapist and you did an hour of assisted stretch. You preferred to be stretched instead of doing it by yourself. Is this enough? By the way, you want to do it once a week only. Can you see and relate to how you are formulating your own remedy or recovery from your prolonged adaptive shortening? How can an hour of stretch overcome against a 6 to 8 hours of shortening? If this will be your solution, my question is, are you seriously training to be more tight since you spend more hours training to be a chair than spending more hours stretching and moving to free up your body? The amount of stretch will always be based on your lifestyle. So your formula to be effective with stretch will be inactive hours minus active hours equals to your estimated stretch number of hours. In my experience, most people is not doing enough stretch. As long as you avoid these 5 common stretch mistakes, you can actually stretch as much as you can. Number 4 common mistakes. Holding your breath. I understand that for some people, the stretch sensation is a fine line between irritation and pain. Unintentionally, you react by holding your breath. When you hold your breath, your muscle or muscles tightens throughout your body. So it is actually the opposite of what you want to accomplish. You end up fighting each and every stretch you apply, simulating a tug-of-war-like fashion within your body. On the other hand, breathing out as you stretch relaxes your body or the muscles throughout your body, thereby promoting the best opportunity to apply stretch that you need. Exhalation particularly has a best effect to the nervous system for promoting relaxation that has an effect to lower even your heart rate number. Additionally, holding your breath makes your oxygen level drop. Your body compensates by increasing your blood pressure. Definitely not a good timing when you are doing a relaxing and progressive stretch. Number 3 common stretch mistake. Stretching the wrong area of the body. There are several ways that you can make this mistake, but what I want to focus more is the behavior on how you approach your body. Our instinct to sensation is unfortunately not that accurate. You tend to rely too much on how you feel instead of what you see when it comes to flexibility. What do I mean by that? Case in point, the hamstring with mild soreness. It makes sense to stretch the hamstring side where you feel the soreness, and beside paying more attention to that soreness, you also stretch it more than it needs because it feels good. But are you positive enough that you need more length on that sore side of yours? Keep in mind that the dominant side is usually the side that gets overtrained and overworked, resulting to a nagging soreness and maybe pain. Yes, it might need stretch, but usually, based on my experience, it does not need more length or intense stretch pulling. But I don't blame you. Psychologically, where you feel the most discomfort is where you want to stretch more. And have you ever noticed that your dominant side always wins and leads to any movement? You wouldn't stretch too long usually on your incompetent side. A dancer or a gymnast will always pick the side for a split, the one that is more controlled and coordinated for them. In fact, when it comes to stretching and maintaining the flexibility, their good side always comes first. The problem is, as they neglect the other side, the difference of flexibility on each get worse. Over time, what do you expect? Body imbalance, which is a major cause of chronic aches and pain, and could lead to debilitating dysfunction as you get older. Remember, you had been already babying this side through the years, and you know that it is more flexible compared to your non-dominant side. But commonly, you are diverted to pay attention to the source of discomfort, resulting to a miscalculated behavior and stretching the side that does not need additional range of motion. Dysfunctional lopsidedness, although is very common, it does not always mean you need to fix it, most especially if you are totally fine physically. What's the big deal then when you are not balanced? This is the tricky part that most people does not know. Listen closely. The risk of having aches and pain due to being lopsided or imbalanced is lower if your activity is low to moderate. A good example is getting involved with yoga, low to moderate weightlifting, or low impact exercise class. Vice versa, the higher the risk of having joint injury if you are doing moderate to high intensity physical activity while having a current progressive body frame imbalance issue. That is why if you are in an extreme sports, you better be balanced. In addition, most people I see that push stretch to their limits are already having physical issues, and usually they are unaware that they are making their situation worse, and they think that the good stretch sensation that they feel is actually helping them. So the lesson here is, when it comes to the goal of increasing your flexibility, do not rely too much on how you feel, but rely on what you see. Always compare your limbs together and then set a goal. The reach and function of your joint should be equally the same as much as possible. Balance is the key and most likely your solution. In fact, the rule is, if you are tight on your right, you better be tight on your left. Prolong static stretch. Have you experienced having your leg fall asleep? This is a scenario when your leg got disconnected from your brain due to the prolonged pressure on the specific nerve. As a result, you get a tingling sensation that is technically called paresthesia. The longer the nerve is deprived from its nourishment, the longer it takes to recover, and the more damages it suffers. Absolutely, it's highly uncommon that you experience this with stretch, except for special cases like lower back disorder or sciatica. What I want you to learn is that stretching builds up pressure as well. Blood circulation is also cut off depending on how intense you are stretching or the amount of force you are applying. And to add more harm, the longer you hold the stretch, the higher the pressure goes. Prolonged stretch cut off the blood circulation, the lymph flow, and even the natural joint fluid diffusion. Health comes with balance. Do you agree? What I want you to use is the rule of balancing your lifestyle. Therefore, the amount of being static in life should be well balanced to the amount of being active in life. Obviously, we are in digital age and lockdown. You need more active motion. Everybody needs and your body craves to move more. So to follow the law of specificity, which is the law of training, your personal trainer should know this. To be able to transfer the right program or the right amount of mobility, you need to be close and accurate to the exact needs of your body. If your life is stagnant and static most of the time, a static exercise approach will just reinforce your current situation, meaning you are just reinforcing the problem in the first place. Imagine you're a film editor and chair bound for more than 8 to 10 hours a day. Or you can be standing but less movement. After your work, you attend a traditional breathing exercise where you need to sit and be static again for less than an hour. And then you do this 3 to 4 times a week, over and over again. Do you expect that you will get the maximum result that you are looking for? Your life is static. Do you think the best remedy is to be more static? The same thing with how you see yourself. Where do you need to put yourself currently? If you work physically in a field and you think you are moving more than just sitting, then it's going to be a different dynamic. What I want you to understand is that most people right now does not need something prolonged and static. Most people need deep motion to regain back loss of range of motion. Prolonged stretch might not harm you, but why do you have to spend time doing something more or less redundant with a minimal benefit instead of choosing a type of stretch that optimizes not only your time but your health as well? Besides, holding a stretch is irritating and can be annoyingly painful. With active stretch, you don't waste your time, you don't repeat what you don't need, and stretch discomfort is minimal. In fact, research shows that static stretch or prolonged hold of stretch affects your strength and performance. This serves as a proof that the best remedy for limited joint mobility due to lack of movement should be an active type of approach. Active type of stretch combines to reset both neuromuscular system and breaks down adhesion to regain your functional range of motion. No pain, no gain approach. Regaining back the range of motion that you have lost through the years will be unproductive if intense pain will be your gauge. We grew up with a notion that no pain, no gain to stretch is the best approach. But do you know where and who started this idea? From coaches who are dealing with serious competitive athletes. Our objective here in this channel is optimizing health. I could say that you are a recreational athlete, but the mindset of a serious athlete is different. They are into winning than health. This is their career, their profession. They don't really care about their health. You have to be very clear that being an athlete has a different goal compared to being flexible and optimally healthy. With that in mind, I hope you have a better perception on how you will approach your own stretch to be productively unharmed. The danger of no pain, no gain approach lies in the ability of your body to protect itself from overstretching, and that protective mechanism could usually lead to overstretching injuries. As your pain escalates during a stretch, your body's protective reflex simultaneously increases as well until it reaches its level where you end up having aches and pain more than what you expected. That seriously affects your daily function. Another significant reason why the amount of pain is directly proportional to the amount of length that you want to achieve is that every individual have a specific level of set point that dictates how much harm or injury that you might be inflicting during your applied stretch. Your body responds to pain, but the amount of pain received will depend on your sensitivity level. In short, you might have a low tolerance to pain, and I might have a high tolerance. Therefore, your reaction to pain is unique for you. Same with everybody else. My point is, intense pain should not be your all or none rule when it comes to stretching. So how are you able to know that the amount of stretch you are applying is enough? Or how can we measure the right amount of stretch? As an active, isolated stretch practitioner, this is what I tell my clients. You should be able to smile, but definitely not cringe. Don't contort your face while stretching. This is actually not good for your skin anyway. It can accelerate wrinkle formation. The next one is very unique. While stretching, use your neck muscle as your gauge. During a stretch, neck should be relaxed. That's a bonus tips for you. Another one, the stretch sensation you are looking for is a slight, mild to moderate, and tolerable irritation. And lastly, it should be challenging enough for you to progress gradually and unexpectedly reach your goal. I know where you're coming from. Some of you pretty much have high tolerance to pain or loves the agony of pain. What I understand based on my 10 years experience is that if you have a very high tolerance to pain, you probably know your body better than anybody else. And you probably was or currently competitive, active person. So there's nothing wrong of your own approach. But what I'm going to add is just a word of caution. Self-stretch is different from getting a stretch from someone else or assisted stretching. If it's your first time to be stretched, the same rules applies with people who have low tolerance to pain. Your first session should be light to moderate. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Thank you for listening. This is Jace Lee. I am an active, isolated stretch practitioner.